Yes.
Alrighty, well, there's lots of little kick off. Welcome everybody. We do have one apology from John Morrison. I'm not sure if any other apologies. So we'll move on to the next item, which is the public forum, and welcome, Carol.
Briefly, I've got a little quick out of the community board.
I can hand that around if you like. Thank you.
Where we're at is there's two access points we're looking at in terms of the Riverway wetlands. One is we're looking at weed control and involves the little strip around the TCDC strip. So you see that on the map there. And the other one is a small bit of road reserve to access to the boardwalk. So what we're asking for is permission in principle to start looking at weed control on that TCDC reserve strip as well as part of the common marine coastal area. We have, in order to spray here, we have to get a resource consent, and for the coastal area it's $1,000 to do the weed control. So, yeah, it's sort of quite lovely. So one of the things we are looking at into that southern portion there is, and involves the TCDC strip, is clearing out of weeds and weeds on there, but there's a wide variety of them. So the preliminary plan is to get some volunteers in there to what they call the lease, what the natives do at the moment, and to take out some of the plants, and that will lower the price of getting commercial operators in there with sprays. So we really need a big look, sort of knockdown to get those weeds in order, and so after that, the volunteers need to keep on top of it. But really, because the honeysuckle is so widespread, you know the weed is in there, because salt water can't get there. So we needed to sort of knock it down so it becomes manageable for volunteers. And then we're looking at applying for MPI funding for Matariki Memorial Planting to David Williams. This David was really about this one. So that's one sort of permission in principle asking for the TCDC to go ahead with weed control, and any contribution would be great. The second one is the access to the boardwalk. As you see the diagram there, we have to, in order to get onto the bridge, proposed bridge, we have to have a small ramp up to it, and that crosses TCDC road reserve. So it just needs that small strip, and we'll have to get permission from the TCDC to enable us to, Graham envisions a small bit of gravel there to start with, and then a ramp. So we're looking for permission on that. So, because once we get permissions for these things, we can apply for funding like the MPI and things like that. If we do not have the permission of the landowners, i.e. the TCDC, we cannot go for funding. So that's why we'd like sort of permission. And as you can see on the third page, this is the sort of projects we're looking at, or where the boardwalk's envisaged to be, where the planting's envisaged to be. And on the back is just, we've got a couple of quotes for weed control. There's two quotes there. One is just for the MPI planting area. But you know, but to go further, we need quite a lot of money. So that's what I'm just sort of thought I'd get you up and ask.
Quickly, you're talking about spraying, and that's on TCDC, but I need to ask someone, do we have a program a small spraying program, that would actually take care of that.
Sure, I'm sorry to say, I don't know. I would think it's unlikely, but I would need to check with Terry.
There has been passed TCDC targeting pampas grass, but pampas grass is not the big problem, and pampas grass is very easy to get, but also there has been spraying, but with TCDC teams, they don't have the spraying permits. So we need to get a resource consent.
So the council land, is that all that land there?
Oh, if you refer to the top map,
Yes, no, it's just.
there's common marine coastal area and the strip around is the TCDC.
Right, so who owns the bit in the middle?
Nobody.
Nobody. Oh, right, okay.
It's in the marine environment, so we have to structure it.
Yeah. Just clarifying.
So in order to get resource consent for any coastal or wetland area, it's a bit more involved. Because under the regional plan, it's quite restrictive for what you can do in wetland, and should be. So, yeah, and we also need to go to WIC for the area that's under the common marine coastal area. There's a little bit of area there, there's a little bit of area there, and we're kind of trying to bring it all together so we can get on with it.
I'll tell you, Carol, so you haven't had any discussions with the council asset managers, with their reserve staff, or anybody like that?
Yeah, we have had discussion with WRC, the biodiversity officer Benson, helpful, just to look as to what's involved. Then we've got a professional environmental person to look at the cost and what was involved as well. And just some conversations with and WRC, but more to go. Thought we'd start with the community board and then work our way out.
Okay, well, we're not allowed to make decisions.
Yeah, that's all right. I'll just leave it with you and excellent, stage one.
Carol, we'll refer this through the reserve staff.
Yeah, because we'd like any sort of help, as you can see, for a small society to crop up $1,000 for a resource consent, it's sort of,
Is there a season that you need to have this done before?
no, we'd like to get it as soon as possible because we need to get all our ducks in a row for funding. And that is landowners permission, that's TCDC, WRC, resource consents. We can't do a thing without all the resource consents. And that's the same with putting the boardwalk in. And we need to, so this is where we get everything done.
So I was moving on from the squeeze spray, the boardwalk itself. Who do you apply to for the boardwalk consents?
Well, that's WRC.
Again.
Yes, because that's that comes under their kind of jurisdiction, and also they've sort of got everybody's got a certain amount of obligations towards common marine and coastal areas, but the majority is WRC, although it's bylaws with the district council.
So you've got here like TCD was permission to continue.
Yes, because of the small strip on the TCDC road reserve. Because you've got that strip there to get the ramp on, and we need permission to make a small gravel ramp. Gravel person, because we want to make the ramp fully accessible for wheelchairs, and it's what's going to go a little bit broader.
Do you need to have two resource consents, one for the boardwalk and one for the spraying, or can they be combined?
It's just two different activities. So, yeah. Anybody want to buy some t-shirts?
Can we get anybody else that has got, there's a consent for spraying have to be done to the site?
No, because the TCDC, like I said, they've come in previously, the pampas grass, especially on that bund where the soil from the ditch digging was thrown up, and that sort of put the bund out of the salt water. Salt water takes care of itself. And so they'll come along and spray the pampas grass along the bund because it's out of the water. So the noxious weeds just go berserk. But we're not looking at putting weed control on that one because we hope that that bund eventually will go.
So on the rest of the TCDC agenda,
No, because the proposals at the moment won't have allowed stock water to go back up there.
currently we want to do weed control on the TCDC.
Yeah.
We don't need weed control ourselves.
To do some, but this one will need quite a bit of involvement. Like I said, the TCDC have done a little bit, but not for honeysuckle, which is actually smothering all the natives.
I'm just wondering about the consent around that, you're saying, if it's TCDC, what consent, you know.
Yeah,
They
they
still need to consent,
not
if it's,
other
if we've already got consent to actually do spraying, that's all. You know.
So this one, so when you take it,
Yes,
there is
yeah.
a stuff and it's fine, exactly what the current status.
Yeah,
So
WRC told us we need consent. So it would be good if we could actually do it about TCDC consent, if you want. We just have to investigate that. Okay, so maybe,
Okay, any other questions?
okay,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
cheers. Oh, no, not until Hey.
So, we need someone to move.
Wrong with that.
Seconded by.
Yes.
So are there any items not on the agenda? Not already. So we'll move on from here. Conflict of interest. Anybody have a conflict of interest?
Number, now grants process, it's number 8. No, it's not.
Right. Any more comments?
Yeah.
It's number 7.
7, yeah. I have a contract that's on board chair, trustees, policy, and I have
So you do.
no.
Indeed, like so, you will just need to so those items. But you will consider the Anything else or something? Okay, so, these are those. So then we shall move on to minutes of confirmation, the previous minutes have been circulated. And you move to the three minutes. Yes. Okay, thank you. So I'm just going to jump through the agenda now to the item 2.2. Community service awards.
It's a relatively simple matter. Historically, the Community Services Awards have been held every 2 years, and 2 awards have been given in a subcommittee of council has assessed applicants district-wide, and it just felt appropriate that it's actually more of a community focused initiative, and the suggestion is that each community board would pick 2 people from their particular area, and then all 10 of them will be recognised by council at a meeting in early December. So it's yeah, it's as simple as that, and definitely supported by the councillors. Unfortunately, John's not here. So it just kind of makes sense.
Anybody have any questions?
And we're all good to go to get the advertisements out and start collecting people, but I would also be encouraging you to encourage people to put in an application.
This is what it looks like.
I mean, we just come out at Gold Star. But the idea is that up to this point, it's been just 3 every 2 years.
Anytime I hold it.
And the last one, it was 2 went to Whitianga and 1 to Whangamata. So my thinking is that our communities are so reliant on so many people doing so much work for nothing. You know, and you all know this. So I think it's really important to recognise the amount of volunteers, and we do this by, I think, increasing the service awards per community board area. And that means that within the Coromandel Award, you can identify 2 great people in your community and give them some recognition. So I suggested we up it from
My gutsy.
1 to 2 per community board, and yeah, it's going to mean a whole lot more. But what the heck? You know, these people got it cheap at half the price.
Yeah.
There you go.
And they're always really worthy recipients.
That's very cool. It's a really nice medallion. It is. Besides which, I've got to get rid of them all before I leave. I got my name on. Off the record. Oh no! Are we being recorded?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
I don't think, it doesn't detract from the merit of receiving the award, and I think it's great that it's presented in the full council too.
Why didn't somebody tell me? Embarrassing. Oh well, I'll stand by it.
And that advertising goes out quite shortly.
Yeah, we just need to get to Mercury Bay tomorrow, and get them to say yes, and I'm sure they will. But yes, we're ready to go.
Well, the council's already decided.
We were ready to go after the council meeting. So.
Anybody have any more questions on that one? No, I think it's a great initiative.
Yeah. Brilliant.
All right, well, the resolutions, and maybe there was quite a long one. Do you want me to read it all out? 3 clauses. That we received the 2020 Community Service Award report, date 5 August 2020. Number 2, endorse the changes in methodology recommended by council for the 2020 Community Service Awards, and 3, consider the applications for the award at this November round-up meeting. And number 3, approves the following timeframes for the 2020 Community Service Award. Advertising by Friday 25th August, nominations up to 6 weeks, 1st of October. Committee considers those nominations, confirm the awards in November 20 round of meetings, and recipients receive the award at the council meeting on 8th of December. So I'm happy to move that. Can we have a second?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. All those in favour, please say
Aye.
aye. Yes, carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stephen, yep, we look forward to that. Cool. Okay, we'll now jump to item 3.1 on page 270.
Here, Thompson apologises that he's unable to be here or on the screen today, but I can cover any various questions anybody might have.
Okay. So this is just in recognition of the lack of revenue that the association has experienced during the lockdown, which has been shared by a lot of other businesses, not only in Coromandel but right around the country. So we've been given a few suggestions here in terms of reimbursement being full reimbursement, or 1 month, or 2 months, or 3 months, and I guess potentially there's another option of no reimbursement. I'll just open the floor. Anyone got any comments? Yes, Jen.
Yes, I thought maybe like over COVID, like the percentage of it, and given that there's been a slight percentage, and I know that
some of the charter fishers have had a lot of cancellations, even just in level 2, because people are coming from Auckland, and my thoughts were that maybe a 3-month would be, maybe 3 months of it would be a reasonable, but not the full year.
Okay. What about Kim or Dean? Anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I thought the 3 months too, because I know there's several, not all of them, but several of them take more than 10. So they can't.
They can't.
They've had a lot of cancellations because of that, because a lot of their parties are big. So, yeah, we'll go with the 3 months too.
And I agree with what Jean.
Yep, 3 months. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that was my thinking too, actually, was 3 months, because I understand that some landlords have waived rents and things like that for
Yes.
3 months as well. So, okay, well, on that guidance, then I would move a resolution that says receive the Coromandel Charter Boat Association request for waiver of walking fees 2020-2021 report.
Just mention one thing, just so we're aware, it's not actually in the report, but they also pay a passenger levy.
Yep.
Yeah.
On top of that, so that's not being waived.
Yes,
But
yes.
it's only the berth that ship.
Yes,
So
yeah.
was aware of
And
that.
that makes sense, because the passenger thing is for Hannaford's, and if they've got passengers, then they pay, and if they don't, then, if they don't.
So the council revenue will be down as a result.
Yes, that's correct.
Already on that side.
Yes, yep,
It's the cost of council, yep.
yeah.
Okay, number 2, acknowledge the request of the Coromandel Charter Boat Association, and number 3, approves a fee waiver of 3 months equivalent to $2,245. Do we have a mover for that?
Yep, I'll move that.
Jen, do we have a seconder? Jen, thank you. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you. Cool. So we'll come back to the reports and works programs at the end. I think we'll just get started on community board grants, which is on page 15. So on page 16 and 17, all the grant applications have been summarised. And there's been a bit of a camera, I guess you could say that we're prioritising these in order of 1 being most important, and 2 being some importance, and 3 being declined, I guess, lack of a better word. Just so we know where we stand, there's a number of smaller items and a number of large ticket items, and you've all read the criteria, so it's up to you folk to decide how you think the money should be allocated. But if we just go through them one by one, starting with number 1 being the RSPCA.
Mr. Chair, again, follow the usual process, just getting scores from everybody.
Yep.
And we'll add those up, we just go through them, we get the scores first, and then we can look at where the priorities might fall and discuss them after that. So just a pretty much cleaner process, if we can do that, just get everybody's scores from 1 to 3 for each one.
Yep.
Total those up, see where we go from there in terms of allocating the funds.
Yeah, okay. Yep, we're happy to do that. So I'll pick up.
That was Margaret speaking, by the way.
Yeah, that's Margaret speaking. Yep. All right, well, SPCA, then for me, I've got that as a 3. Number 2, I won't name them, I'll just go through the
So we
numbers.
can just get each score, every score for each one as we go.
Okay, is that easier for you?
Yeah, it makes it much easier for us, yeah.
Okay, the SPCA, I have a 2. I have a 2.
And I did too, a 2.
Okay, number 2, I've got as a 3.
I have it as a 3. 3.
Might be easier to take hold if we stick to the pattern on here.
That'd be good.
Peter, Jan, Jean and Kim, just easier for her to try to.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Oh, I'm last, okay.
Okay, number 3, I've got as a 1.
3.
One.
One.
Number 4 I've got as a 1.
One.
1.
One.
5 I've actually got as a 1.
1.
One.
Two.
Number 6 I've got as a 3.
3.
Three.
Three.
Number 7 I've got as a 2.
Sorry, two. Jim.
Yeah.
Abstaining from this
Yep.
one.
Fair enough.
Sorry.
Two.
Two.
One.
Number 8 I've got as a 1.
One.
Number 9 I've got as a 2.
3.
Two.
Two.
Number 10 I've got as a, as a 2.
1.
One.
One.
And number 11 I've got as a 2.
That's a two.
I'm going to say 3.
Three.
I've got a question mark there.
Two.
And number 12 I have got as a 1.
One.
One.
Number 13
One.
Two.
Number 14 I've got as a 1.
1.
One.
One.
And, number 15 we've got options here. You may recall the community board allocated a fund from their discretionary fund at this last community board meeting in favour of a marketing campaign for the town, which was approved, and the funds were allocated, but they were not spent. The campaign fell over. So I'm going to suggest to the community board that we use that same method to fund item 15, which is a promotion of Coromandel town to domestic travellers. So on the basis of that, I've rated number 15 as a 3. Not supported at all, I just think that we can fund it another way. So that's why I've got it as a 3.
Just asking you a question about that, Peter. So the fund would, are we allowed to ask how much that fund is? That was
The discretionary fund?
no. Oh, okay. No, the money that you were talking about sending over. No. So, but okay. So it's
Yeah,
the whole of
okay.
the discretionary. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm totally in support of this amount of money that they're asking for here, but to come out of a separate bucket, if you like.
Okay.
But by voting it as a 3 doesn't mean I don't support it at all. I just don't support it in the community grants round, and then we'll bring a separate item to the community board for discussion at a September meeting with the same report, and we can vote on it then.
On those grounds, I'll go for 3 as well.
Yep. Three.
And I'll go 3.
Is that right, Alan? You can take that away and bring a report back to our next meeting?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I think if you're wanting to do that, I would suggest that when we get to the end of this discussion and get to the resolution, that we pass a resolution recommending that a report come back to the next community board meeting along those lines. So we'll add that to the resolution.
Cool, thank you. So carrying on with number 16 there, I've got that as 3.
2.
Two.
Number 17, I've got that as a 2.
Oh, I've got that as a 1.
Easy.
And I've got it as a 2.
Okay. Number 18 is for pest control. I'd like to part fund that, so for that reason, I've got it as a 2.
I've got it as a 1.
One.
I've got it as a 2. I'm with Pete. I'd like to part fund it too.
And number 19, I have got that as a 1 now.
1.
One now.
1.
And number 20, I've got as a 1.
Yeah, I have 2.
All ones.
All ones.
Okay, but that's, you know, we start looking at the fours and looking at how much you wish to allocate to each of those that are scored a 4.
Just go through the
So one at a time to allocate
Can
in
we get
funding.
the Excel sheet sorted to
Sort out.
and tell us how much we've spent if we just do the.
So in the order of,
You've got drop down boxes in,
No.
top right, each sorting.
Which one is that? Sorted,
The top one, yeah.
which one is it? Largest, smallest to large, or largest to small?
Smallest to largest.
You need to make sure that column A is also filling.
Okay, excellent.
Now you're cooking.
Okay.
Yeah, now we're talking. So on that basis, then just talking through these points one by one, it looks like we're unanimous for that item number 4. Receives that much.
So we're going for 1,000.
Yep, going for 1,000.
Yep.
Number 12, Coromandel Community Services Trust, that is for the St John's First Aid courses. So that's 770. Yep. Okay.
Running too short.
Okay, so column J there is what's left over. Yeah. Cool. So the second item then is number 12. We've done 12, haven't we? So it's 770.
70.
Yeah.
Well done, pick up that one. Number 14 for Ryan. We happy with that amount or portion of? Let's just go to that item.
I've got, I'm supportive of this initiative, perhaps 1,500 towards the running cost of the vehicle, and perhaps other schools involved could contribute as their contribution to the use of the van hall and overhead costs. So it would be, I mean, I have just had a question mark about the full amount, that perhaps they could get money from the other users, which are other schools or whatever the other users are, that they should be contributing, because I know like Gold School has to contribute to things when they go to things there.
If I could speak on that, Jan, but I could not ask other schools to pay or for money, but what is coming on for the Coromandel area school is that they're looking at charging the hall for when the net basketball is being used, and that's only the first time they've ever done that. So I know for a fact that the coulda won't ask, I coulda for money. That's their kaupapa.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jean.
You're welcome.
That's great.
So they've broken it down. The request is 1,500 for food, 1,500 for petrol, 500 for food, and 500 for maintenance and power of the hall. I'm okay with the petrol cost, 1,500. I can understand there would be a power and maintenance fee, but food I'm not so comfortable with.
The school hall is used by all schools throughout Hauraki.
Yeah.
The school hall is.
Yeah. So we've got a choice of 2.5 to 1,500. Pick one, so.
I was quite happy with the lot, but if we don't want to do the lot, I think maybe 2 would be fair.
I'm happy with 2.
I'm happy with 2.
Yep. So when we do the resolution, I have to read these out on the middle of the screen. Okay, Barry Brickle, Play Day was a very high ranking one as well, number 4. Budget for, I should say, which is $900. I'm happy with that comment. Anybody else have a different idea?
I just, I've got here it's an excellent attraction. It attracts a lot of people. It's unique to Coromandel and it's a memorial thing. And I'm
Okay.
I'm happy with that.
Coromandel Youth Sport Association, requested 3,972. There was a question around some of the costings that they are thinking they are going to experience, and some of those costs apparently are building related, and the building being owned by TCDC, but it may actually bring down some of the funds that they are needed. But that's an unknown at the moment. I propose that we allocate the entire amount, but make a note that some of the costs may actually fall on TCDC and may require further investigation.
on those grounds I would too, because I mean, it is part of capital upgrade to do things like rotten windows and
That's right.
termite
Termite damage and things like that.
We don't have termites in New Zealand.
At the end of the day, that figure does reduce, and that money will not be able to be reallocated or anything like that. It'll just go back into the retained earnings.
Yep, and that can be made clear in a letter to them. Yep. So on that basis, I'll put 3972. Different opinion?
Nope.
No? Okay. So that was the last of the unanimous ones. Then we get into quite. School of Mines has had a high rating here, and I think partly because that's the institution that protects a lot of the heritage and history of Coromandel Town. Going through their financials, they appear to own the building, and so they have a limited revenue stream. It's quite a sizable amount, but in my opinion, it's money well spent. So I propose we support them to the full amount.
The other thing to know, Mr. Chair, and the notes on the spreadsheet that Margaret did, is that there could be some funding available through the Natural, Cultural and Heritage Fund.
Oh, okay.
You have to be perfectly honest, because it's been away for so long, I'm not sure what fund, how much that is available from that fund.
Yeah, I don't think it's a huge amount, but yep.
the other.
We need to try and find that out.
Troubles with that. I think it's about 2,000. We used it from another time. I'm sure it's right. We'll move on to another item while Alan's done that. The next item.
I just want to say something on the School of Mines, because I'm not really. They have a lot of accumulated funds in their unspent fund in their thing. It's there in their budgets that they have, and like there's quite a few thousand in there, and I'm wondering, like, it doesn't seem to be targeted, and I'm just wondering if they can use some of their money
Well,
in there.
they will be, because the job's $12,000, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I was
they've got something like 30,000
Yeah, they've got.
in
This is really to replace the roof and spouting. They've got an application here for 8316, which is the number that we've got up there. They haven't expanded on a bigger project, so your point's probably valid there, Jan.
It's the Flyings Club that I've got mixed up with.
Yeah, I mean, that's my only thought about it, is that they do have a lot of accumulated funds.
A lot of those funds are in assets which are not cashed up, but the cash balance sheet's looking pretty good.
Yeah. So,
Do you want to half fund it?
yep, I'd be happy with, like, say, $4,000, as a, but, I don't know, what do other people think? I mean, it is a worthwhile thing, it is a great thing, and it's fantastic, I do want to support them, but I was just thinking in the scheme of things in terms of the need in our community, and the ones that don't have funding and do need it, that may be.
Could we put that down as a half and come back to it if we've got surplus left over at the end
Yeah, or even.
Yeah.
and revisit it?
Yeah.
It's just that they're working on a break-even kind of a basis, and so once their capital's gone, it's gone forever because
Yeah,
they're only making about $1,000 a year.
Yeah.
So.
and it'll be less this
once
year
they
with
dip into
COVID.
that, it's going to take an awful long time to get it back.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
it's a valid point.
And we can't afford to lose our history.
So maybe we'll put that support for now.
Thank you.
And blue, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good way.
okay.
Okay. And also, we'll find out from Ellen about that because there is. That might help as well. So we'll get some more information on that and come back to it. Item 7, I think, is our next one. Yep, you're abstaining from that. And it's a high rating. Happy with the full amount? Or?
I'm happy with the full amount.
And those kids are going to have some lot of fun with
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, just here. Then we're into item 8, which is also a high ranking item amongst us. I'll put it out there for the full amount.
I'm happy with the full amount.
I'm happy with the full amount.
Just have a little thing about it.
Yep.
Was they're talking about the Christmas parade, and because now this year we're close, balloons really close to the parade. They had quite a big fall off of the parade last year with the Christmas parade, and and because there's a parade and balloon.
That's right.
Yep.
And
Well, you might find that people will use the balloon floats.
I suppose they could.
Yep. And we need things to cheer us up.
We do. Yep, I'll go with it. Yes. Yeah. Right.
All right. Do you want to go back to the?
Yeah,
Especially
yeah,
for me?
so it's the bottom mark, she told me it's 2,000
Yeah, I thought it was.
in there, so we could allocate $2,000 of funding from the Cultural and Heritage Fund for that item if you wish.
So 2 and 2? Two from here and 2 from there. That's at this stage. We'll come back.
Still to be revisited?
Yep. good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come back. Okay. The next highest thing was the 10 there. Now that is trees, shrubs and traps. There's a number of groups here asking for trapping and pest control kind of things. From memory, I think there's item 3, which is $993, and also there's a 1,518. I'd just propose that for the purpose of fairness, we have about the same amount for each, which would mean that item number 10 would come in at $1,100 for the cost of their traps. So I'll put it out there. I propose that we fund that to the value of $1,100.
I'm happy with that.
Tim's happy with
Yeah,
that? Dean?
and I'm happy with that
Yep.
as well, because I felt that was what was needed, because there's a lot of people involved in that project that can contribute.
Okay. Next item is number 13. Now, this is the regular for the community board grants process. And I think it's a worthy cause myself. They're proposing 2,050, and I'll just put it out there that I support the whole amount. Go around the tables.
I was supportive of the Christmas lunch thing being held there and contributing that, and I was thinking between 1,000 and 1,500 for that, because they do get. We funded them last year for their commemorative, or it was a really high. Was it 100 years or no, 70 years? I'm not sure. Whatever the anniversaries were.
Yeah.
They were anniversaries, and that's why we funded them last year for those. Otherwise,
Yeah,
it
I
was,
mean, 2018, that would have been.
was it the year before? Yeah.
100 years is the end of the war. That's 1918,
Yes.
so,
Yeah. Yeah.
But what are you,
But-
you're thinking between 1,000 and 15, what about you, Jean? Or Kim?
Yeah, I'm quite happy to part fund. 1,000 to 15, yeah, I'm happy with that.
Which one? 15, Jean?
1,500.
Okay. Yep. 1,500.
Number 17 here is the next highest. This is the Coromandel Independent Living Trust. This is to help with the fit out of a remakery workshop. They've requested $7,000.
Can I just, just fill it out, which we probably should have done, said as well, the title, the total there is artificially low because there's only 3 votes.
Yes.
So 2, 1.
Yeah.
If you did add another 1, it would probably be a 6.
Yeah.
Just pointing that out.
Yeah.
The score is artificially lower than compared to the others.
On a couple of topics.
Yeah, yeah. The Cornwall School one would be the same.
I thought that too, it actually helps.
Yes.
So we're coming back to the kilt one again.
Can I ask a question about that on the kilt one? Are council able to support with either waiving or reducing the consent fees, given that it's on our council?
No.
But they're not?
Simple answer.
Okay.
They have to
Okay.
be paid for somewhere. Yeah, so,
Yeah, okay.
yes, so the grant can cover that cost quite legitimately.
Yes, okay. Well then
Yeah.
I'm supportive of that. Well, actually, I'd said 5,000, not 7,000, but
I'm thinking that maybe we'll do the century in blue as well and come back to it a little bit when we have a better idea. But for now, you're suggesting 4,000 or 5,000. I don't know what you're
I
thinking.
was
Kim, what's your
suggesting
thinking?
5,000, but you know, what
Yeah.
do I, oh, Jean,
I thought half.
What, half? So you're going 3.5.
Yeah.
And Jean's abstaining on this one. So the difference between 3.5 is 5 is about 4,200, 5,000. Work that in there, and we'll come back to that one a little bit later on.
4250 for now.
40.
Next up is number 3. So this is a request for traps and bait using our earlier philosophy. That would mean we'd put this for 993.
Yep.
Yes, I would now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that we're sort of spreading out the trap thing.
Yep, no, I go with that too.
The next one is number 18, which is along the same line actually. They're asking for 3.5. The pest control portion of that 3.5 is 1,500. Using our early philosophy of proposed 1,500.
Can I just say, because their traps and baits and the trap modification is going to cost about $2,000, I think I added it up to.
So just please explain the modification. I don't quite understand that.
They have to modify it to, read it, they have to modify some of the traps that they've already got to trap. I need to read it again.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't make clear enough the notes.
It's page 303. There we go. So we've got, I just read the first line, which is where I got the 1,500 from, but there's some setup costs, there's checks per year, there's baits, and then there's another portion, CWSS possible control, I guess that's labour.
Yeah.
The bottom 3 the next 2 are labour, and then there's baits per year contribution as well.
Yeah. That's where I got the $2,000 from, was the traps, the 1,500 for the traps.
Yeah.
And because the rest of it is, I don't think, but the baits, 80, and the baits and modification, pig proofing, that's what it was for, the traps, pig proofing the traps, because there's a lot of wild pigs there. So it was adding the $1,500, the $210, and the $80 for the baits. But
Yeah, but I hear where you're going with it, but I'm just thinking about consistency with the other two that, that they
in
possibly
terms of trash.
next year they might argue that they need to put a bit more.
Okay,
So
Yeah.
if we're just consistent and it's just hardware,
okay.
because there's a labour component on that 200. I mean, if you wanted to go 1,600, that would.
No, I'm fine about the 1,500 because, as you say, that's the criteria we're using. So one that we weren't looking at earlier, we've changed our minds about because we're spreading it across as traps. Then, yeah, so I'd go with 1,500.
Everyone happy with that?
Yes.
Okay, the next one, I'm not sure why that's got such a high rate. It's item number 1.
It's 49.
Yeah.
Jumped from 6 to 9.
Yeah, so I guess that's, I'm supporting 0 for that one. I'll put it out there.
I just had a question mark around that. Because the money that's raised, like say in Coromandel, that we put to that is actually spent in this area, but we don't have any facilities. We don't have any. We don't have a vet. We don't have. They don't even come up here. So the money would actually have to go to another area if we allocated it, and because that's the case, I'm with you, Peter. I wouldn't be.
Jean and Kim?
Yes, I'm the same with Jean, so I agree with you. Yeah, thinking about it logically that way. My thought originally was that, like you say, we haven't got a vet, so it would be good to get local animals spayed. Yeah. But yes.
When I read their criteria, it does get
well, it has to go out of town. Yeah.
Then the money would have to go out of town because we don't have a facility here to accommodate that. So.
Okay.
Yep. Happy with that.
Next one is number 9. This one is zebras.
I'd just like to speak on that, if that's okay. Yes. Is that we had 2 tangies out at Haritonga a week or so ago, and it was quite sad that there was a body who was waiting outside because it was starting to rain, and we had these young people up with ropes and a bit of tarpaulin to shelter the body when they bring the body on. So that was the first thing that really comes to mind for me. I've also been to Christmas parties, fundraising parties at Haritonga, where they have their queer and kaumātua who have no shelter apart from what the people of Haritonga put around to shelter the older people. So I've really thought about it, and I'm going to change it, that I actually think that they should have the whole lot.
Right.
So,
okay. Yep. No, well done. Any thoughts from Kim?
And actually, just from what you said, yes, because I was out there, and yes, you're right. I saw those young guys trying to climb up the poles to attach that, and
my thinking is that and like Colville, they're very independent. They don't ask for much.
No, they don't.
So I'm fully supportive of the full amount.
Yeah, I am too.
Yep.
Yeah.
There we go.
Thank you.
Coromandel Community Preschool. This is for assessed gazebos.
It's actually the sand covers.
Yeah, it's a large amount for what we can't quite get our head around. I don't think is why it's so high when other applications are considerably lower.
Isn't it clear as well?
Quickly look for a bit more detail on that.
It's clear.
Take quite a lot. Yeah.
It's 4,941 for the clear covers and 2,535 for the sandpit covers.
Which I think is very expensive considering what we did up in Colville with our covers, and we have got canvas covers up there, and it didn't cost anywhere near that much. It's quite simple. They're quite simply made with canvas and boarding around the edge of the canvas, and then just put over. And like if it costs $200, really, but that's just for materials, but I would be willing, $1,000 would contribute to that. Cover.
Yeah, well, their original project estimation was 7,476. You're asking for 5 of that, and balance to come from fundraising, so on. You know, Sandpit covers 2,535. I would be comfortable with allocating 2,535, and they can have a separate project for the clear drops. That would be my thinking.
Well, my original take was 2,500,
Yep. So
half of what they asked for.
Yep.
But that's what I had, perhaps 2.5, question mark.
The next one is for some building repairs. Unfortunately, the client, they actually have been to see me about this, and they're suffering from leaky building syndrome. They've got a raw deal on some timber that they bought, which has failed them. I'm looking at the 1, 2, 3, we've got 4 projects left, we've got 7,100 left. This is the lion's share.
Probably got 9,000.
Yeah.
That cultural, 2,000 back in.
Yep. So the bottom item, the Thrive Trust, we're looking at using a different fund for that. So that's okay. We've made a decision on already. The item number 2. I think we've got it as a 0.2, haven't we? No, we haven't decided on that one, but it's a pretty low priority. So if we don't do number 2, then we can do number 11 in its entirety.
I do see that it is like obviously work is a priority to be done. But I just want, emergencies, all the emergency services use that, like fire brigade, St John's, etc. And, the helicopter lands there.
The police.
Police use it, and I'm just wondering if...
all those emergency services are using it for the good of the community.
They are,
And
that's
so
true.
our community is putting something back to help them do it even better and for longer. We do have another item that we haven't finished yet, so we don't. But if we do this, we've still got 2,000 for the other item, which was the School of Mines, I think.
Yeah.
School of Mines. We've got enough to do the whole thing. Yep.
Okay.
Happy with that?
Yeah.
Happy, Kim?
Yep.
Yep.
What?
And that means that.
I missed one.
Yeah, we can go back to.
Decisions on those.
Yep.
The only thing that what I've written here, it's a worthwhile project that enhances learning regarding marine biodiversity. I know that Culver School's been 4 times. The last time was just before lockdown. It is really a beneficial program for all schools all around the peninsula. But I just think that it's like the schools can fundraise themselves to go to those.
So their statement of costs, must be early in the piece, won't it be? After the SPCA. So here it is. Before that one, statement of costs is
Page 48.
As attached. Yeah, it's not crystal clear actually, is it?
No.
How much we are applying for? Noting that this must be half that amount.
They've applied.
One school is $1,200.
Yes.
And they're doing this in conjunction with Together of Manaya. Are they?
is this for Coromandel area school only?
No,
It's
number
the way
two,
that-
no, it's
But they're doing it on their own
they
day.
said they've got a waiting list. They have got a waiting list for the Tairu, Hikawai and Kanuakete, waiting list to go to it. No Coromandel-Colville schools included in the waiting list. So,
So it's not guaranteed anyway?
well, it's not, our schools aren't going to benefit in this round of money going to them.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a great thing, but I know, as I say, Colville went in February, but we raised our own money.
Yeah.
It's up to the schools.
So you're not in favour of supporting this one?
No.
Yep. Jean?
I haven't been right from the beginning.
Yep. And neither am I. So I would be inclined to put that as a 0.
Yep.
The next one wasn't very popular either. I'm inclined to think 0 based on its popularity.
Which one?
Number 6.
Oh, yeah, just, I put,
Laughing Frog.
I mean, it's really nice, but pubs and clubs actually invite musicians and players, etc. This is an idea.
Yep.
They're not a charitable trust. They weren't able to give us any information about what they would, of anything that they had planned for it. It's an idea, and I just thought, it was
Okay.
nice,
So we've got 2175, am I right? No. What's our balance now? 2175, yeah. So if we add that to the School of Mines Fund, to make it 4175, and further 2 to come from the Cultural Heritage Trust, that will help the School of Mines enormously. Yep, if you can go back up to the School of Mines.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. So, so there, 4-2, yeah. So we could add all that to the Kiltro, we could add it all to the School of Mines, or we can apportion it across both.
I'd like to apportion it.
Yep. So another 1,000 for the School of Mines and 1,125 for Kiltro, being in the bigger project.
So raising 4,250.
Yeah. So that would be,
So 5, 3, what is it, 5, 3, 5, 4, is it?
yeah, let's try that. What's taken down? 1,025. So you can add another 25 if you like to the Kilt one.
5425.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3,000.
3,000 in the School of Mines.
Plus 2,000 from
Yeah,
cultural.
plus 2,000. Yeah. And that should give us 0. Just over.
Yes.
Gee, that's good.
Goodbye, money.
Yep, goodbye money. Yeah, that was a nice one. But I think, there'd be an enormous benefit down the line from those projects. So well done, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So what were those last figures? What?
So we-
Living trust.
We have to just look at the wording of our resolution now. So we've got 2 points there, which first and second, that's fine. We're adding a third one, which is that Thrive Coromandel Trust Training application. Can I speak slower?
Yeah, just straight on.
Press the button. Press the button. So the community board requests that staff create a report for the September CCCB meeting. I don't want to use the words in favour, but in regards to the Thrive Coromandel Trust Training application. and looking at seeking funding through the Community Board Discretionary Fund.
So what I've got is a piece of report compared to the September Coromandel-Colville Community Board funding Thrive Coromandel from the discretionary fund.
Correct, yep. And then number 4,
Thrive Trust, right, Thrive Trust.
That's Thrive Coromandel Trust Trading here. Yeah, trading as Coromandel Town Information Centre, but you can read that out.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And item 4 is that the Coromandel Store Mines and Historical Society received $2,000 from the Coromandel-Colville Community Board Cultural and Heritage Fund. So on that basis, I'll get the resolution says previously discussed, or do you want me to read them all again?
Okay, I'll second that.
All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against, carried. I don't have to read that out.
No, I'll just include that in the minutes. That table. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, sorry, just checking Steve on the side there.
Yep.
Then 11,900, press resolve it now.
Oh, okay.
Just going to say that some of the orphans come back, the funding is there. It is discretionary. So.
I'm hugely in favour of that because that's, that buys a lot of time.
Yeah.
So
And this is the formal meeting, it's kind of a great
Yep.
process. So you decided to use.
So that would be item 5 on our resolution. That Thrive Coromandel Trust, no, so actually, no, this replaces your number 3, doesn't it? Yeah, it replaces your number 3. That Thrive Coromandel Trust Trading as Coromandel Town Information Centre received $11,900 from the Coromandel Community Board Discretionary Fund. So we need to put that resolution again
I think
and vote again.
Sorry, I thought I got back before you put it. I was trying to get back before you put it.
So with that change, yep, I'm happy to
And
move.
I'll second
All
it.
those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against,
Right,
carried.
thank you.
Thank you very much. So I think we should adjourn now, have a break, and then we'll come back and do our report and our members' reports, and then we'll be done.